All right, hello everyone. This is Dwight Woods, Jeet Kune Rebel, and we are prepping for episode number 30 with Heather MonDee. So we decided we didn't have a chance to pre-test the technology, so we're on at 2:55 just to make sure. Hey, Juan Perez, I was just thinking, I suggested to Heather that we try to connect 5 minutes early. So right at 2:55, of course, she shows up. And I was thinking, if I keep doing these shows with people like Juan Perez, who showed up right on time. If I keep doing these shows with people like Juan Perez. Wait, let me turn my volume down. And Heather MonDee, I might end up being a punctual individual myself at some point. Right, so she's so the invitation sent. Let's just give her a couple seconds and see what's happening. Hi, Kurt. Hi, Marlon. Glenn's here. Amir's here. Avmiri Tavares is here. Ron, Mr. Sampaio. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys and gals. Let's just This is Heather's first time on the show with me, so we'll have to see if the technology works for us. So let me do some filling in. Next Friday at this time, you guys can log in to spend some time with Diana Rathborn famously of the Minnesota Collie Group, and also of now Rathborn Training. November 2nd will be Eleanor Academia Magda. Hey, Double L. And let's see, who else is here? Okay, all right. Well, so let me just see what's happening with Heather. Okay. All right. Hang on. Okay. This might work.
Ha! I have to rotate my phone to join. Hello, Dwight.
Hey, aloha.
Aloha. Well done. Shotgun.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. So let's, as they say, get this started. So everyone, welcome to episode
Okay.
number.
Are we functioning okay?
Yeah. You look fine. Welcome to episode number 30 of the Jeet Kune Dialogues with Heather MonDee. So did you notice that? No, now you got to rotate the other way. Okay, stay there. Stay right there.
Gotcha.
Stay right there. On one of the ads for this episode, I nicknamed you the Shadow Warrior. Did you notice that?
No, sir. I've been a little.
No. Well, the reason why is because I couldn't. I did as much research as I could.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay. I did as much research as I could, but I still feel like I don't know very much about you. Right? So, but one thing I did discover, there's got to be a fun side to you, because you are a certified Zumba instructor.
Yes. Yes.
That's pretty cool.
I like to talk about that because I think there's, especially as a martial artist, there's so much to it that is an add to. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, you're fine. Okay. There's
that's a good story.
Zumba?
Huh?
There's martial art in Zumba?
No, it's just a good story. I think it would be an
Oh,
add to martial arts. If
really?
Yeah, I mean, even in my academy when I was teaching, I would make the men do salsa and dancing and rhythm oriented stuff. Oh, it's the 12th area, it's another way of training in the 7 ways to train. So
Okay.
it should be incorporated, and I never got too much pushback.
Right.
But I have a good story if you want to hear it,
Yeah,
to
go.
hear how I got into it.
Yeah.
I was in Afghanistan, in Operation Enduring Freedom for a little while, and I had a client there, and she's like, Hector, I want you to go with me and work out. And I work like 24/7. I'm like, Gabby, I can't. I go, that's okay. And she asked me twice,
Uh-huh.
I want you to go with me to this class. And I mean, she's a client. So I'm like, oh yeah. I go, okay. And I've had other students say I would like Zumba to me before. And I just didn't really get into all the big colors and all the animation. Okay, I'm not a big drama queen, but Gabby got me to go, and I walked into MWR, and I'm like, okay, where's this class I'm supposed to go to? That's the room, because I taught in the room before, and with Michael Munyon, who may be on here, and the guy goes, oh no, that class is in the back in the big tent. I'm like, what tent? So I walked back there, and I'm not kidding, there were like nearly 100 people in there, just walking in from everywhere. And you got to understand, in that type of environment, everything is a neutral tan color. And all these people from all over the base all of a sudden are coming into this tent. And I just see this normal chick, just totally normal girl, get up on a platform. She doesn't say anything. She's wearing her little shorts and her freaking army top or whatever she's doing. I think she's Air Force person. And all of a sudden, great music comes on, and we just start moving. The whole idea about it is a mirroring concept. So as an instructor, when I was there, I just got transported into another place. And of course, there's only twice when I was in the war zone where I was actually transported out of there. That was one time, and then for a celebration day, because I'm very conscientious that mortars could come in at any time. But I was listening to the music, and I was looking around, and I'm like, there are 50% guys and 50% girls.
Yeah.
Just normal, and guys were getting down and just setting their mind free. And when I watched how you taught it, where you didn't have to teach, and I'm not taking away from the attributes of an instructor and how to develop the things that you and I have done, you much better than me for many, many more years. I respect you very much, Dwight. Mwah. But, I saw the model, the business model, the instruction model, and I was like, when I get out of here, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to be an instructor, and I'm just going to go. That's going to be sorry, there may be planes. If you didn't know, Oahu is a big base. And a big airport.
Yeah.
So you may get some of that. I apologize in advance. But anyhow, when I did leave there, that was one of the things that I took solace in and enjoyed training in a new level. It's also a personal litmus test of what I do to keep myself like healthy and in check, like mentally, physically, and whatnot. Because the martial arts, I can't really litmus test myself that way, because that's a turn on and a turn off. Like I'm on or I'm off. So there's a couple of things I do to do the self-efficacy thing, and Zumba is one of them. Happy people, great people.
Yeah. So Zumba in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I got that right.
Yeah.
Okay, Zumba in Afghanistan in the midst of Operation Enduring Freedom.
Yes, sir. In Kandahar Airfield. So that's a NATO base, multicultural, over 50 different cultures represented there. Absolutely fabulous. Yeah.
Okay, now I don't need to tell you that's, you're not a normal person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would agree to that. And
okay.
And you know more. I'm intrigued by you, and this type of thing is long overdue.
So we'll see. Okay, well, right back at you, because one of the reasons why I feel or felt unprepared for this dialogue with you is because there were a number of people who were quite looking forward to this. and I felt like they all knew you better than I do. All right. And then
Okay.
the other thing that scares me is that I don't want to ask you something and then discover that I have treaded into classified waters or something. Right?
It's funny
Yeah.
how people think that of me. And in some ways, because I've done some very, very interesting things. And I don't mind telling stories
Exactly.
about it now, because I really want to segue out of some of that. I mean, I was telling Guru in LA just last week, I'm like, Guru, I'm tired. I go, I'm not, like, I mean, we just had good dialogue. It was so good to see him. And he's a good reflection of balancing me. I'm like, long hauls, he understands.
Yeah.
Really? My battery's already dying. I'm going to have to plug you in.
Oh.
Wow. Anyway, I may have to move you around.
Yeah.
Or get on another device. I have a backup.
Okay.
He understands long hauls and long hours and long this and long that. And it's hot here, just so you know. It's really warm where I'm at. But I just said, I don't want to do any more. So I don't mind telling the stories. And I told a couple of them while I was there. But not, I haven't worked directly with, I was in Operation Enduring Freedom. So I'd be either military or contractor. I would be a contractor.
Okay. All right. But when you were active military in Afghanistan, that was over what period of time?
I was there for 3 years. So 2010, 11, 12, and a little bit of 13. Too long. Felt like 10 years.
So you went into the military in 2010?
No, I wasn't military. There's only really two type of people that are there. It's either going to be military or a contractor. I would be the latter. I was a contractor. I still am a contractor.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So how did that come about?
An opportunity. I had just gotten out of the police academy. I was an officer in northern Colorado at the time.
Okay.
And I met someone who started training with me and said, this could be an opportunity. And I graduated from the police academy, and I'm like, dear Lord, I don't want to be an officer. After all of that, yes.
Right.
2 years being an officer and then serving that particular community for over 7 years, I was like, I don't want to do this. And I don't know why. But then an opportunity came and said, you might like this going over to Afghanistan. I'm like, the opportunity was once in a lifetime. Yeah. So you get those. They come. They should come, you know. And when they do, you go, yes or no. And the answer was yeah. Okay. And all the things that lined up at the time were the same. I had just handed over my academy to Colin, and after some changes there, and it was a good time, because I wanted my students and my instructors to actually start, like, I've given you what you need, go. I'm going to take this opportunity. So that's how that transitioned.
All right. Slow down for a second, because that's a bunch of stuff, right?
Oh. I'm almost 50. I got a lot. And you're tapping into it. No, just joking.
Okay. So I remember, I think probably it was one of my first email addresses for you was denverama.net.
Or you'reclose.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was your school.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's backtrack. Because in the research, here's what I found out. And we'll talk about all this. There's a Terry Gibson connection. But preceding that is Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That's where it started, my friend. Yeah.
Okay. Let's start there.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Okay. That's where it all starts.
Okay. Is that where you were born?
No. That's where my martial arts started. I'm from Colorado.
You're a tough one to follow.
Yeah.
You're a
Even
tough one to
more
follow.
so.
And
Yeah.
in case you don't know it, there's like 4 names for you on the internet.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
What
you have
there
done your research.
there's a Heather. What did you have the name Noel at one point?
That's my middle name, Heather Noel MonDee.
God,
Oh, yeah.
I can't keep up.
That's my middle name.
Okay, all right.
No.
So, okay, so you're originally from Colorado. All right. What the heck were you doing in Arkansas?
Hmm. My dad was there.
Okay.
And so I won't say we moved there. I got in a very bad accident and I was living on my own in Colorado. Once I had that accident, I couldn't take care of myself. So I went down to Arkansas, and that was a very hard transition because I was a city girl to a very not city place.
Right. Yes.
It was rough. But a lot of really good things happened there. I mean, I started my healthcare career there, and that opened up the door to training in the martial arts. I really just drove by Randy Edwards' school for a year. And I always wanted to do martial arts, Dwight. I just always knew. I always knew I would be a part of that. I believe that people, if they're walking in purpose, they'll learn and they'll find their gifts and they'll know it. But I drove by that and I'm like, I really want to do that. And I'd work 12-hour shifts and I'd drive by, I really want to do that. And I went in and watched a board breaking clinic for
Okay.
like 3 hours. Okay. Do you know how dorky that is? I look back and I have people come to my school. I've had people come into my academy after that and they'd be sitting there for a couple hours, and I have a ton of patience for that when they're, where it looks like it's weird behavior because they're sitting there, for longer, because I was so intrigued and happy and just fulfilled watching a board breaking clinic because so many things were going on in my head when I finally had the courage to go into that school. And I really just walked out and I said, I don't care if I have to eat less, work more, or whatever. I'm going to go, I'm doing that. And it wasn't like very shortly after I went and signed my first contract, and I was scared because I was very young, 18 or 19 at the time. But when I got into it was Taekwondo that I started in.
Okay.
I mean, I went all the way, never left that. And then I was introduced to the Gibson lineage. And I don't know how much of the story you want to hear, but when I was introduced to that, I was like,
Well, okay.
that's what I've been looking for.
Okay, yeah. How did that come about? Because you're in Arkansas, but Terry Gibson was in Oklahoma.
Yes, he came down for a seminar in some place, in like a martial arts house, and I was invited to it. So there's some epicenters of I thought about how I would talk to you. There's some definitely, if you want to put them on Richter scale level, there is some epicenter action that spawned my martial drive. And that seminar was one of them. And one of the people that introduced me to that, which is an epicenter of my training in general, is Harley Elmore. But when I went to that seminar and I saw Terry and Kathy Gibson, I was like, where are they? Tulsa's how far away? You gotta understand, I'm not from the South. So I'm like, and that's all Southern to me. I was like, I'm going there. Because by that time I was in healthcare, and in that type of a position, healthcare is usually pretty good to get a job anywhere. I'm like, and I was young, I'm like, going for it. So up and went to Tulsa. And there I was I look back now and I'm like, I had such a family. I mean, I had all my brothers and, my sisters, Michelle, and, my brothers, Darian and Eric and Steve, everybody, of course, Harley, just a whole group of people. And of course, Mrs. Gibson as my training partner. I mean, and I look back and I'm like, I didn't understand because I was so young how awesome and how purposeful my training was, because I had Miss Gibson to work with me, and then I had all those brothers to really just bring me up, and it just compiled from there. Went into business after that.
Were you one of the first females in that school?
No, there were others. Michelle Eigelhart, she'll probably see this. There were others that took it to the level I did. No, no.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would on that.
In doing the research, I saw a picture of Darian Whitaker. I had not thought of him in forever. And I saw a picture of him.
I probably met you at, that's probably when I first met you. It was at a Terry Gibson seminar. I'm almost positive I met you at a Terry Gibson seminar. And of course, all the brothers were there.
What year?
At that
Okay.
time.
First time out there was 89.
It would have to be mid 90s. See, you're such a senior to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Mid 90s
Yeah.
was when
Okay.
I was training. But I know I met you because that was the Florida group. Like, here comes the Florida people. You know, we're by region practically.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Now, healthcare. I didn't know anything about that aspect at all.
Yeah. I'm always paralleling a lot of different things. I don't mind sharing that with you because people I'm not one of those people that have a career that you do for 30 years and then you retire. I've done so many things simultaneously, but martial arts has always been also parallel at the same time, complementing in and out of it. Yeah. But the healthcare was very helpful because I could just create my own. I was in nursing and then I got into administrative stuff. I mean, and that span covered the whole entire time I was training at in Tulsa, which was at least 6 or so years, maybe more, until I moved back home and then opened an academy. Okay. But I started out in nursing and it gave me the flexibility to be able to pick my own schedule. Right. So I would I as a PRN in any type of nursing, I mean, I could work hard and then I could take time off, or I could pick certain schedules. And of course I excelled when I was there. So I eventually would get full time and I moved into psychiatric stuff and worked in behavioral stuff, with a niche on children specifically for a while I was there. So it was a lot of very formative time for me, very precious time, now that I look back, because it's honestly. And then when I met Guru, that has added to my whole life. Everything that I've done in my life has been a reflection of those formative years up until this point. Yeah.
So did you have an early intention to visit exotic places in the world and experience international culture?
You dream about it. You think about it. You see stuff afar because our country's so big and we have so many wonderful, beautiful things here as it is. You're like, oh, I'd like to go to Europe, and it's inflamed in your head, I think. So of course I was like, I would love to travel. You have to give up things in order to do a certain lifestyle. And it was the opportunities and the choices that you make almost split second or very short windows of time. The one to go overseas, for me to go to Afghanistan, was the one that opened up a great deal of what I've done in the past. Well, ever since then, since 2010. But before that, the only international travel that I did was for the Denver Brotherhood boxing. They're like, you box? I go, I do. They're like, let's see you box. I go, okay. I go, okay. So I go and I train, and they're like, I got an opportunity with the Denver Police Department Brotherhood, go internationally and box. And I'm like, where? Bermuda. Yes. Okay. I'll do it.
Okay. All right.
Since you're talking like a seed.
Since you're talking about international and islands and what have you, Lee's Jungle Gym.
Who?
What Lee's Jungle Gym? What is your connection to that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Lee's Jungle Gym. No.
There is. Okay, let me see if I can find. There is online. Let me see if I can pull up the names, because I'm pretty sure there's a picture of you. So, yeah. It's Hang on a second.
Listen, I find out all kinds of interesting stuff.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You have no idea. Hold on a second. Let me find it. So there's something called Lee's Jungle Gym in Jamaica. And in the gallery, there's a picture of you with, oh man. See, I thought you would give me the answers about this.
I can. I understand now. That is one of my brothers. Actually, that's David Lee.
Right.
And David Lee, and there were only 3 of us that tested under black at that time with
Darren something.
I don't know Darren.
No.
Just David Lee is one I got my first black belt with, under Guru Terry Gibson.
Okay.
And you're probably looking, if it's the picture that I'm thinking, is probably right after we just did our sparring, 10 rounds of sparring.
Okay.
In our testing. If I'm almost positive, if you can show it to me, I would know for sure. But if it's Jamaica, I know it's David Lee.
Okay. Yeah.
He's one of my brothers we trained with.
All right.
Academy.
Because then there is, let's see, where's the other one? Okay, that one I can't find. All right. So you ran, how long did you have the academy in Colorado? How long did you do that?
2003 till right when I went overseas, so through 2009.
Okay.
Like borderline 2010.
Okay. And did you learn, because you mentioned it in passing, did you learn the business of running an academy while you were in Oklahoma? Did you go on staff there?
I wouldn't say technically, but yes. I didn't see it that way because my training was so hyper focused.
Mm-hmm.
The business stuff was in the background, but what Catalyst did, my phone, I don't know why it might be dying. I may switch you to a different device. The catalyst was I was teaching at the Gibson Academy, and that was like my little group of ladies that I was training with, Chrissy and Kim and all these girls, and whoever else would come in there would be more of an advanced class. A guy came in and he was sitting there and he was watching me, and I'm like, that's kind of odd. And afterwards he goes, I've heard about you. And I'm like, okay, hi, nice to meet you. His name was Skip. And he goes, I run all the All-American Fitnesses around here, and I've heard about your program. I'd like you to come and start your kickboxing program in our All-American Fitnesses. I go, okay, but I have some conditions. I go, because I asked him what he wanted and why. And I said, here's what makes it successful. I go, and these are the conditions. If you're willing to do the conditions, then I'll be more than happy to do it. And here's what I'll offer. I'll also bring a team up and I'll bring a very live energy to your clubs. I mean, we had a really good dialogue. He was the first person that ever wrote me, the recommendation letter he wrote me was just off. I've never seen anybody write anything like that. And since then I was very young. So I did that for like over a year and was teaching in maybe 5 or 6, 7, depending, All-American Fitnesses in that area with just a kickboxing program. That business-wise did the catalyst because it was so successful. I'm like, I'm going home. I want to go home and do this in my home. I want to see my brother. I want to see my family. I'm out.
Okay.
And I mean, I was in healthcare at the time, wearing suits and doing my other thing. And I told my boss, Betsy, she may see this too. I'm like, Betsy, I want to go home. We just laid off a bunch of people. I was not one of the people that was laid off. I said, but I miss my family. She's always been supportive of me. Mm-hmm. And she goes, I understand. So I went home and tried to do that business practice in Colorado. Guess who I had? I had just my girlfriends in the class. They're listening to, their phones are blowing up on the side. They're more worried about how they look. And I'm like, no, they didn't understand how hardcore I was because they knew me since I was young. And I'm like, work. Okay, we're here to work. I'm here to work. I got the good music on, but let's go. And that didn't go so well. It was the martial arts that worked because I have this addiction to the martial arts. So I'm like, gotta have the people on the side, gotta have some people I can work with, I gotta see Guru. You know, I mean, I already have certain life goals that I'm not going to miss, and one of them is guru. And I'm like, I have to be able to train these things and go forward. So I started creating a little group. It started with my first private student, Nate Hughes, and I'd had them on the side and was doing the kickboxing. But guess what grew? The martial arts did. So that started out in my front living room, 6 foot. These guys are huge, banging around. I got bags in my front apartment, and I'm like, this has got to grow. And just opportunity would present itself to where I would have like a full academy, and we had a couple different locations, and it was just fantastic. I got to see, I mean, I taught people that never saw our arts, never saw them up until they're an instructor level under me, and they're still doing great things, not only in that, but in firearms, which I'm a strong advocate of. True martial art is all ranges, all weapons, whatever's needed to stop a particular conflict or violent interaction. So I got all those needs met. Not the way I planned, but still did.
When I was talking about you to a couple of my students, and I told them about the Sig Sauer photographs that I found of you online. Yeah. Those are. I also found a picture of something called knockout dog fighting. Oh,
was it in New York? That sounds like it's in New York.
Yes.
I was invited to do a Wounded Warriors Way project. It was supposed to turn into actually like a comic book series, but it kind of stifled out. And part of it was going out there and doing some PR stuff in New York. And I went into in the Brooklyn area and talked to kids in different areas, and it was just a fun. I like to teach, and of course, I love the seminar stuff that I've done. I've been taught by some very good people, so I like that outlet as well. And that was what that program was about at the time.
Yeah. Did you have a canine companion in Afghanistan?
No. But I love them. They'd have the dog therapy walking around. They'd have some mean dogs, like you can't touch them too. But I would go to the kennels because I'm not dumb. I mean, you have to manage coping skills. And I was like, where's the dogs at? And they're like, this is a pet therapy dog. I'm like, where are you at? I'm like, I want to go visit and take a little session, because I can. There's some things you can and can't talk about, or can and can't do while you're there. And I'm like, you want to hear a fun story?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I really need to talk to this dog at the time. This is probably in 2011. I'm just going to go sit, do a little pet therapy, just take a little break. I'm so happy to see an animal over there because you can't touch the animals. You see cats and stuff, that's general order, general's rule number, I don't know, 2 or 3 or whatever. Number 1 is you don't have sex. So I'm going over there to talk to the dog, and I walk in, and it's around Christmas time, so all the people home are sending boxes, and they're all around. I'm like, aw. And then I see on the counter right next to me, I'm like, hey, I'm here to see the dog, a big old box of condoms. And I'm like, why is that here? And I go, the general's order number 1 is no sex, no alcohol. You don't touch the animals, all this kind of stuff because of many, many reasons. He just laughed in my face. He's like, I put a box of those out a week. I go, because I joked, oh, nobody's having sex. We're not having sex. We don't do that here. I play by the rules sometimes. And I'm like, I was shocked that kind of thing would happen. But in a war zone, you cannot predict any type of behavior. You have to be very quick to do it. And some things are kind of shocking. But then I didn't even get to talk to the doggy. So I had to, you have other ways of dealing with stuff. But.
Yeah. When I was talking with Juan Perez, I asked him about military movies.
Yes.
So So do you even have time for? I mean, there's a thing called downtime, right? You're aware of that?
Yeah, I have 3 categories: work, rest, and play. And I wouldn't call. Here, I believe that you make up on it what you miss out. When I got out of that war zone, if we're going to talk a little more, I didn't really sleep for 3 years. And when I did sleep, it was not it was not sleep. And I'm like, I mean, your physical body is such a machine. It's built to keep you alive and do great things for you. And when I got back, I'm like, I'm really tired. I think I slept a year and a half straight. I mean, I got up and did things I needed to do, but I caught up on all that sleep. Your body will get back what you take from it. So it's very important how you take care of your machine. But, I don't consider myself any war or anything or anything like that. But I'm sorry, what was your question?
Yeah. So no. So what I
Juan.
was whether or not there was such a thing as a favorite military movie for somebody like you.
Oh gosh. I do have a paramilitary mindset. I can't, because of the martial arts in general, and then the exposure to law enforcement and military in general. I got lots of them.
Yeah.
I love Gladiator, but I'm more of a sci-fi person. I shouldn't say that. And when you say military, I'm not. I'm more like Terminator oriented. I like the futuristic military hero thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earlier on, you said you used the phrase "our country," right? And from stuff that I've seen online, I gather that you are, let's say, somewhat patriotic, that you're somewhat fervent about the United States of America.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Especially
So,
now that I've traveled internationally.
okay, so that was something I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Somebody says something stupid like, America was never that great. What's your reaction? Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, I'm not here. You got to understand. I look at behaviors, and then and from that, if you're just bent on being a hater, I choose whether even not to spend my time even addressing the dumb things people do or the ignorant things. If ignorance and they're not interested in really carrying on a dialogue, I don't go for it.
Yeah.
If I think I'm going to be entertained by it or anybody else is going to get a benefit out of it, I might actually go forward than anything for that reason and just see where it goes.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have to get entertainment somehow,
Right.
And people, it's confidence, communication. People kind of move those things. I know. If someone were to say that to me, I would wonder. Yeah, I got lots of them in me. I'd wonder the motive. And honestly, because I also look at people who are either American or anti-American, and you don't have to be an American to be that. I've been over in Oman, and they have third world country people that come in and serve those Middle Eastern cultures. They fly them in and do all kinds of things. But at this time, it's a masseuse girl, and she goes, "You're from America," and the Europeans mainly go down into maybe Oman and some of those nicer, what we would say, wealthy or rich areas, maybe to get away. And I was on an assignment there at the time. And I go, yeah, I'm from America. She goes, I love Trump. I go, I got to be careful because, I look at it globally and I also look at it domestically. And I go, she's like, I love his sexy voice. She's from like the Philippines or Sri Lanka or something. And I'm like, I go, is that it? I go, anything else? She's like, I love it. We started talking about the whole freedom thing, You either, and people have the idea of America and the freedom. And I'm a true example of that. I try to tell kids and in general, I'm like, I'm the top of that. I'm a female and I'm an American and I live with a free mindset. I don't get capped by ideologies or anything else because America has offered me the freedom to pretty much do whatever I want. And I hope that in my footprints, they've lasted and they've done well. The martial arts is honestly a foundation of that in all the other aspects of what I've, influenced or been a part of. But I couldn't believe she said that. So the whole world looks at us. When I was in Afghanistan, those people know more about our country than we do. So I look at people in my country, you're either American or you're anti-American, period. And you'll know it. You're going to open your mouth and your fruit's going to show it. I am patriotic.
Yeah.
I love my people. I love my countrymen. I'm grateful for the president. I think every person in the world is flawed. Flawed. I'm flawed horribly, but I think we all have gifts and talents, and if we're functioning in them, they supersede our flaws. And I think that matters because those things will help people, and they
Hmm.
do. I mean, anyway, I won't go any further. Yes, I love our country. We help so many people. You'll hear we sent so much money to help people. Even me, just being in, I mean, some people in Afghanistan, I like you in Oman. I was the first American some people ever saw. They're like, you're from America? They couldn't even tell you where it was.
Wow.
America was in Europe. I'm like, oh no, 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 we're
Right.
much bigger. It's this Europeans.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's not,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyhow, I might help me stay on track. I may have to get a plug in. May take you with me. Are
Okay.
you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'm gonna walk with you guys and get a plug because I don't want to lose you on this. But you said we have to stay on a phone, so I'll do it. Okay. Anyhow.
Yeah. All right. No, that's interesting what you said, because I've never, in my time, I've had to explain to people back in the old days, where Barbados is. You know, I've had people ask me if what part of Jamaica was Barbados, and
Oh no.
stuff like, yeah. But I've never heard of someone having to explain where America is.
Certainly. And they have
Yeah.
you're talking about countries where their news may be very limited, where their culture has told them things that we would take for granted having the knowledge or the know-how of, but like I was asked questions, all kinds of interesting questions, like
Hmm.
about stuff I don't know the answer to, and I just say I don't know. I go, but I want to be a good example to you as an American of
Yeah.
what we are, and I always go to the freedom mindset.
Yeah.
That's our biggest thing, is that we have that freedom. There's no reason why we can't do anything that needs to be done. Come on, doggy. I'm gonna take the dog back out.
Okay.
I hope that helps, and I'm hoping I can plug this in. If I lose you, I'll call back on, or we can
Yeah,
connect
we can.
on another device.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was again. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about um, assignments
Sorry, guys.
or operations, what have you. So when you get
Really?
settled.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Okay. Because I had a student once, um, and again, in doing the research for you, I thought of him. I won't use his name because I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to use his name. But what I noticed is that he would come into town and he might have a little bit of facial hair. And within the 3 months or so before he took off again, it would be growing out and growing out and growing out and growing out. And I knew that he was involved in something, but I never asked him exactly what, right? But by the time he left, if you just put a particular type of covering on his head and you just look at the face, he did not look like an American. He had the full beard. Have you ever had to go on assignment in costume, let's call it?
Yes, it's an advantage. I'm a female.
Yeah.
In some places, it's very incredibly disrespectful, even to talk to me, or to definitely not to touch me. So if I'm a soft skin and I'm driving anywhere, guess who has all the weapons? Or a lot of them. I mean, you can carry anyway when in some of those places, but just to keep other things on you, I'd be the one that was carrying all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't mind saying, I don't care, because I don't plan on ever going back in that type of environment.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's an advantage to blend in as much as you can anywhere, you know, and be very observant. That's one of my favorite skills. I think everybody should always be exercising, that we had when we were little and should stay with us. Be observant. I'm well aware that other cultures that are still practicing that same type of thing, they know right away that no matter what I do, I'm an American. If I open my mouth, that'll change it. I mean, it's really interesting to see that dynamic in play, because it's a part of how you play a game.
why do you think you developed that sense of hyper awareness?
I think it stems from, you want to know the honest truth? I think it stems from a heart of caregiving.
Uh-huh.
If you really care about people, and I really do care about people, you're always looking at people. And you can't be an instructor. I mean, it all comes from the martial arts. You can't be someone that works in the physiological side of an individual, at least for however many years I had an academy. The physiological, the psychological, the emotional side in a relationship of people in any length of time, and not come from the right place. It's got to come from the right place. So if I'm using any of those, whether it's judged as good or bad, for whatever reason I'm using those skills, they were always in there because I cared about people from the beginning. I still do. So all those skills were started very young.
Okay. Are you? Do I hear you saying? I'm going to put it in my own words. Do I hear you saying that people might be surprised to discover that law enforcement individuals, for example, get into it because they care about people?
Oh man, I can't speak for that many folks. I definitely got into that
In your
that season of my life for that reason. Definitely got into that. See, I mean, I was serving the Firestone community for 7 years as just a community educator. One of my students said, "Man, you teach these programs in women's self-defense, and you're an advocate against sexual assault and all these." He knew everything about me. It was Nate. It's like, "I want you to meet Chief Montgomery. Go and help. He may want you to." And when I met him, we hit it off right away. I went up there, and he's like, "I want you to come every year if you can, and teach my community in personal defense and whatever you want." I mean, you pretty much gave me a free reign. So I think it should start from there.
Yeah.
That's what makes you a good guy versus a bad guy.
Right.
You know?
Well,
and the closer you are to always checking and testing that, and staying in truth about yourself in all dynamic, is what will keep you from either influencing in one way or another. I'm very conscientious about how I influence. Very important.
Let me ask you a big metaphysical question.
Okay.
Okay. On a scale of not even 1 to 5, on a scale of 1 to 3, how much truth do you think is out there in the world?
1 being very little and 3 being like a lot?
Yeah.
Or, okay, 1 minus 1 below sub-zero 1. You know, if there was any next level I would want to do, would probably in influence.
Yeah.
It would probably be in that area. And you can tell, because I've been researching it, and I'm telling you a little bit about my future. You can tell by the number of people that are seeking, let's use our culture, for example, seeking to develop their psychological. They need the motivational. They're seeking out, they're seeking outside to get things filled, to find maybe truth, but really, hopefully developing themselves, because that's really where it starts. All that is just escalating as a way, and it's almost like a genre and a culture, the podcasts and everything else. It's not bad, it's good. But the level of truth that I think people, they may be missing it. They're only satiating how they feel, in my opinion. And I'm all about getting right down to the real and raw.
Right.
People in front of me are probably going to get that real quick, and I don't have any. I have some filters, depending on the environment that I'm in. But, you know, I mean, if you want truth, and which is obviously subjective as well, and according to experience, and then there's some things that are just evident, you know, you're going to get it. I like the quote that, you know, well, there are 3 stages that truth goes through. I first learned that from Guru Asano, and, you know, violently opposed, you know, but eventually it's self-evident.
Right.
And I feel that more of that is needed. More of it will come, but very few will buy into the actual truth of it, in my opinion, in the future. Martial arts is a great place to start because it deals with the body, the mind, the physical, and everything that you learn is also developed on the outside. You bring your problems into my martial arts in this environment, which is a controlled and safe and structured developmental area. It's going to give you positive tools and coping and everything, camaraderie that you can take over there and apply out in the crappy beep world that we live in.
Yeah. So I recently became aware of the phrases mind hack and life hack. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but feel free to tell me. I just want to make sure I have it right.
I'm working my way through it. So people will ask you a question like, well, what is a life hack that you would recommend? And I think what they're talking about is ways to make things easier for yourself. So let's use that explanation for the word hack. So what is a mind hack that you would recommend to people? A way to fix your way of thinking.
Keep it very simple, everything. We over-process, we overdo everything. I mean, here I use phrases with people that are around me. Change your mind. I mean, I'm almost directive. I mean, in regarding it, and that's for everybody across the board. And I subscribe to my own simplicity of, well, we'll just say mind hacking, life hacking. It's much simpler. All these trends, the trends of minimalizing, you know, your things, your life, and I mean, it's trendy to be able to do that and get rid of all these, you know, that's where it was in truth a long time ago. We don't really need all this stuff. Just watch people get more stuff to stick in storage bins and then get more stuff to put in, and then, I mean, it's almost, I see some things, I'm like, life hacking is simplicity. Influence. You know, I tell people, change your mind. You know, it's okay. I mean, I have that. No, yes. You know, mean what you say. Kind of all the simple things that, honestly, I'll tell you, because I've worked with a lot of children in a lot of various areas, from behavioral health when I was in healthcare on. There's a whole pattern of children in everything that I've done. The long haul stuff, the close protection stuff has blended over into to very wealthy families that I've taken care of, along with normal security type stuff, and that's also in my background. The kids, they get it right away, and I think we're built to be that simple. And honestly, there are highlights and epicenters even in that have made me realize that that's where it's at. So into any of my martial arts friends, I'm like, man, if you're dealing with strong wills of adults that have, like, you know, they have no interest in learning anymore, they have no interest in being childlike. I'm of the mindset now, I don't even want to be around them. I mean, I hate to say that. I mean, I'm not, unless it's entertaining me.
Right.
Unless I think I'm going to be trained or you're going to bring something to the table. Because I have a certain mindset now that is like what you said. If it's called life hacking, I've filtered, but we already did it anyway because we're JKD.
Right.
I mean, that's why I look at all these methods that they're renaming or whatnot. We're very grateful, or I'm very grateful, in the 20 plus years of being under the Asano lineage, that I already had all that. Plus, I was exposed to, you know, the Tony Robbins and the whatnot because of the business stuff that I was involved in. But all of it comes down to
oh no. Okay. Somebody send me a message. Let me know if we're both frozen, or if it's just Heather's feed that's frozen. And I'll try to get her back on. Yep. Okay. So it's on her end. All right. Hang on a second. I'll try to get her back. Yeah. It just came up on my feed. All right. Give me a second, guys.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Sorry, it got too hot out there, so my phone turned off. I gotta go somewhere else. We'll just go over here, and I'll hold you for a while.
How long are you going to be on Oahu?
At least till the end of the year. Is the plan.
Oh, okay. Wow, nice plan.
I'm grateful. It's a very healing place. That would be a place this is a place I would suggest if you want healing. I'm gonna try and go somewhere where I can still be outside, and I want people to see that. You know, it's also called the gathering place. Did you know that?
No,
It's called the gathering place.
really.
I want to be outside because I want you guys to see it. So I'm gonna go somewhere else. The sun was getting on the devices.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Apologize for that.
yeah, that's fine.
And I got another one because the other one was gonna die for some reason.
All right.
I'll just hold this.
Yeah. So I think a couple minutes ago might have been the first time in this conversation that the word JKD, the phrase JKD came up. All right. So
Yeah.
so which is
Man, I love all that stuff.
yeah, since it's
Sold out.
it's called the Jeet Kune dialogues, right? But here's what I want to ask you. Can you think of when because you start training and a lot of times you're overwhelmed by all this material. And I remember I've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
Terry Gibson was gracious enough to send me, because I had just opened up my school also, and he sent me his entire curriculum. And it was overwhelming. Yeah, it was overwhelming, right? But he started me on the road towards professionalizing what I was doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? I've had that moment.
Yeah. So can you remember a time when it kind of locked in and you were like, oh, I get it?
I thought I had to. I love all my experience in the martial arts. I thought I had to teach all the 10 levels that Guru Gibson taught.
Right.
To honor him properly and whatnot. A big freedom that I had was when, and I remember Guru looking right at me and going, I've never told you, Heather, what curriculum you have to teach. You can do whatever you want. He's so perfect in timing. He's almost like a prophet to me, and I don't mean that in a weird way. I mean, it's just his words have been very gracious to me. Not many, but through the years, very powerful. Chris Sayak was the same way with me. But after that, I realized I can do so much, back to the simplicity thing that we were talking about, off of so little. Before I went to Afghanistan, was like, I told my instructors under me, I said, you guys have it. You have, even if let's just look at the curriculum in general. If you just had the orange and you have a student progressing, that's a year. By a year, that's already enough. Okay, by that year, you're already developed another year. So I started seeing things totally different. And it
Mm-hmm.
took me a lot to get that way, because for many years, I was only a practitioner. Well, that might be like a bomber or something. I mean, we have we have stealth bombers that come here. Oh yeah, I see some really cool stuff. On Oahu, that's why I said I think it's a big base. But the curriculum, I used to struggle over that because I wanted to teach everything
Mm-hmm.
to everybody. Like, everybody get in here and we're doing it all.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had to grow to realize that I had the right concept, because I would look at people individualistically, and then I'd start tailoring inside to them and structurally give them what they needed.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me a while to develop that, take the restraints off myself regarding curriculums and what's necessary. That was hard, because I always believed that there should be levels of testing that in rewards for that. I mean, when I was just with Guru, every day I mean, that whole thing was testing. I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't touched sticks and trained with anybody in at least 2 years. I'm not kidding. And of course he's like, yeah, you know what I mean? I've traveled, that's why I'm like, I'm changing everything. I don't mind telling you that. You know, I'm like, I can't keep traveling to the level that I'm doing and missing the things. It's taking a toll on my body, my mind, because you have to know thyself. And that would be an answer to a question that I got earlier here. You know, you have to know yourself and have the courage and the truth to identify things and then change them.
Mm-hmm.
But here you go. I am grateful that the things that have been put in me from my instructors prior to, and the dedication and the time that I put in the efforts, hardcore. I was all in. Paid off. I just picked the sticks up. He's like, you know, Simo Cookie's like, we just want to see 20 clicks of everything. Sombrata. I'm like, yes, ma'am. It'll be my pleasure to either fail miserably or do awesome. And unfortunately, I didn't fail. But I don't think they know that I hadn't done anything. You know, they don't know the injuries. I'm not going to show them show that. I don't litmus test in the martial arts, because, like I said, it's a switch that I turn on and off.
Yeah.
I'll break an arm trying to perform, because there's very few people that that I aim to please. Dan Inosanto is one of them. Yeah. One of probably, that's all. Like, everybody else is like, you're, you know, whatever. I don't really, not moved by many people.
So let's see. I have them all here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I discovered there are 13 Fayettevilles in America.
Yes, like in North Carolina and Arkansas. And
Right. Okay, but you just said that you're going to cut down on traveling, so you're not going to get to all of them?
Okay, now, see, that's subjective. I have no issue. Like, a 4-hour flight to LA is like, doop-de-doop-de-doo. You know, I'm like, I catch up on journaling. I mean, I have a different view of the long hauls. And I told Guru, I'm like, 24-hour shifts, Guru. I'm done. Okay. I don't know. I mean, eventually you get to, there are a couple of things that move people: appreciation, money. If you're not appreciated where you're at, normally, eventually people are going to be moving on. If the money's not into it, and quite frankly, I'm like, I don't even care about any of that anymore. I've served well, and I paid a lot forward, which is really what drives me. Mm-hmm. But it's at the cost of my physical body. And the payoff is not there anymore. I could travel over the United States and feel fine about it, but I really don't want to go back to Africa.
Okay.
I don't have a desire.
Yeah. Yeah. You just mentioned journaling. Are dreams included in your journaling?
Actual dreams?
Yeah.
Like sleeping dreams?
Like, do you wake up and write those down?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
I love dreaming. That's a sign of being healthy, in my opinion. It's health. Okay.
But are the ones that you write down, is it because there's significance in them? You find significant meaning in them, or?
Yes, of course.
Huh.
Or if people show up in my dreams, I'm like, why are they in there? Because I live a very private life, like you're in, and not easily I'm not. You can
You're
find me if you
telling
want
me.
to, but I don't really put myself out there. I'm not as visible as maybe, high level executives or people that I serve. Okay. I just live
Yeah.
a different lifestyle. So
Yeah.
if a person gets on my radar in general, or they reach for me, I've had people reach in all kinds of venues. I mean, I really pay attention to why they're there. If someone's in front of me for longer than 5 minutes, like even today, I jog in the morning, and I didn't get it done because a lady, she stopped me. And I'm like, people are important. So my personal goals, I have to keep them in check, or everybody will take advantage of my personal time. It's just a time management thing. But when I saw her, it's like, she's there for a reason. I'm like, and she is there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had the dialogue, and then I had another dialogue with a person. I just chuckled, and then I went and got a coffee, and I'm dialoguing with everybody. I'm like, today is a people day. It's not like that every day.
Yeah.
You have to be aware of that. And by the way, I want to thank the people that are watching and have watched and are watching and may watch in the future. And I'm sorry about the my visual here, okay, in advance, but
you're fine.
It didn't work in the back,
Yeah.
so I'm in the front.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, listen. I don't want to take up any more of your time. So, let's let me just.
You didn't talk about the stuff I wanted to talk about.
Well,
Just
go.
joking.
Feel free.
I do want to answer questions. If anybody has any questions, I want to answer them.
Nobody sent me questions for you. They probably sent them to you.
I don't think we gave them enough time. I did get one from an instructor that I'm going to say I kind of mentor in a different country. And he's in the Inosanto lineage. I encouraged him to, and I recommended him as an instructor. And he asked, it's a deep question, but I want to answer some questions because it's about the people, like I just said, that would actually get on here. Like, Here you go, Josh Gibson. He's one of my brothers in during the Gibson times. Lauren, warfare times. I could look at these. Scott Hahn, he hosted a seminar. Who else is on here? Hamid, I worked with him in Afghanistan, and that's just with us being cut off. I mean, I want to honor these people. La Trixie, we both went to the police academy together. So on my Facebook page, I want to honor them as well, and really just give honor to Dan Inosanto. He's the reason why I've done any of the things that I've done.
Yeah.
Not kidding. And then there's some epicenters. Like, I can't give enough credit, and he deserves it, to Harley Elmore. He deserves it. Dan Inosanto, Terry and Kathy Gibson, Cecil Pettigrew. I mean, I boxed, straight up boxed. If martial arts with the Gibsons weren't enough, I went over and boxed in a boxing gym. Who does that? I look back at myself and I'm like, man.
Only you.
To make me tough. Yeah. And I'm tough and I'm weak. People are like, you're so strong. To this, I haven't done personal development seminar. It was just recently because I travel around, so I'm trying to change some things. And we're in the group, and you write down all these things about the attributes of the people that are in the group with you. And I'm like, what they wrote down was, and I don't get and I'm like, I don't see myself as all the things that they're saying. Because I think honestly, it comes through all the weaknesses and the challenges that I've been. And it's back to the one question. I got one question from this person in another country, and he asked, how do you deal with personal challenges? And I'm like, you didn't go to easy question like, tell me about the 7 stages of bestiality or the 12 areas of Kali or anything. We didn't do martial arts. It's like, comes back to the truth thing you're talking about. It's right. About people and development. My great joy is to watch people develop. And it's such a gift to be able to physiologically, kinesiology, and apply the psychology and the behavioral and see that work in infant to way adults. I've spanned all that in a lot of different industries. Where I told you earlier, I've not done one specific industry. Who's an officer and then is in operations in a firearms facility, then did healthcare and worked with, and then did behavioral health and psychology. I have a very unique background. Who goes in a war zone as an American?
Right.
I was around people that never saw, they just stare at you. They're like, they've never seen a female talk with a general,
Right.
Afghan general. I'm like, he's my client, and they won't come near me, but they just stand there and they look with the crazy eyes. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I've had so many very good and unique experiences. But the way I want to answer his question, because that's what people need, is they need hope and they need encouragement and the unity thing, like you had in another one of your dialogues. The martial arts has so much to offer, particularly our systems, in just personal life development. I mean, I practically do a ton of life coaching. People call me about all kinds of things. My friend was sexually assaulted. My ex-wife was sexually assaulted. I want to kill somebody because of this or that. I mean, I deal with things that you would not expect because of all the different seasons of life I had. But to be able to do that and have the strength and how I handle all of that is just be very, one of the ways I do it is to be very real with myself.
Yeah.
Just real. And give myself the time to understand. I could use the vehicle of the physical side to tell you. I told my client when I came here, I was like, she's like, let's go on a run. I'm like, okay. And I'm just putting along. I'm like, but she doesn't understand. I'm assessing all the pains and the aches. And I mean, I'm like looking at the level of detox I need to take. Why is this happening? And this happened. I mean, and then the psychological side of it as well. I'm like, I'm assessing myself to the max.
Yeah.
Because I've maxed out some areas, and it's a gift to be able to be here because I'm addressing all of it, and it's coming about quite quickly. I mean, I truly thought I would sit in Guru Asana. I told him, I'm like, I may have to sit there. Of course, I'm supposed to test. You don't go to the academy and instructors camp and not expect to test. So I'm like, but I would have been happy just to sit there.
Yeah.
And obviously we have to do that to maintain our active status. You know this. And I'm like, and I'll take whatever, consequence I get. But I physically and mentally was just not okay. And I'm like, and then when I got there, I'm like, you know what? Rally the hell up, Heather. I mean, if there's anybody, just push yourself physically and see what you can do. But not being, I mean, I may hit a bag in Oman. I've trained a little bit with some of the kids that come around me. I haven't done, I love the UFC gyms. So if I get in those, because they got the well-rounded stuff that I like to do. And they also have Zumba. I mean, I look for the opportunities to express myself, but it's not at the expense of other people, which is, I've learned to manage that a little better. I mean, when you want to be strong and get through your challenges, the personal development, you have to look at yourself first and be brutally honest. Physically, I'm here. And then if you have people around you that can either tell you, I mean, I have a lot of that because I've traveled so much, I came back, I'm finally told some of my friends, I'm like, last year we're in Abu Dhabi, and it was right around my birthday time. These are retired lieutenant colonels, and I'm watching them. They're like, yeah, we'll go home every once in a while. Home, the United States. I'm like, I love my country. I'm like, I'm grateful for the freedoms. I wouldn't be here, We'll go home every once in a while, but they're so far out there, that I don't want to, and so unconnected from maybe their family and whatnot. And so I can associate and understand a lot of people that do deployments and things like that. Not like that matters, but me, I was looking at that, I'm like, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
It's a big step for me because it's very attractive to be called and say, oh, can you go here? And I'm like, yeah, I can. I'll tell you one more story. So I had a client reach for me. We kind of need you. Are you available at this time? And I pick assignments in that industry off of time and best fit. And I've formulated that in a lot of different areas. Some are easier and some of them are just off the chain. Interesting. This one was, we need you to go before an election. I wasn't briefed on anything. A lot of some of this stuff I do through my own business, and then there are other things I'm affiliated with. because of my experience and longevity in some things. And they're like, I go, yeah, I'll go. But I'm chuckling in my head because I know the logistics. I'm real good with logistics. In Afghanistan, that was one of the things that I was primarily involved in. And I go, you can't get me there before then. I have to have a visa. In my head, I'm like, you have to meet these needs and the contractual agreement, all this stuff. I'm like, and so I'm like, well, the next step is a visa, and that would be a fail. If you can't get a visa, I'm not. It's just not fun. But to me, I'm kind of like, let's see if these people can do it, because when you are overseas in other cultures, there's a lot of talk, Dwight. Yeah, we'll get that done for
Yeah.
you. We can do this. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And I just chuckle because I can see details and then I see vision, and in a lot of things that are done. And I'm like, okay. Next thing I know, I'm like, I probably need to get a visa, and that needs to happen pretty quick if you want me there before these elections. No joke. They're like, we're flying you out to New York tomorrow, or the 2 days. Can you go in 2 days? I'm like, somebody has to have some significant push to make that happen. I go, yeah, I'll do it, because I'm all about the go until the door closes kind of gal when I'm all in. Okay. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. No joke. I go to New York. I get up there. They called people back to where the consulate to issue the visa. I get briefed on where I'm going. It's Uzbekistan. And I'm like, They wanted me there before the prime minister was in the elections, before his transition into the presidency. So I worked with the family during the transition of that. And that's a highlight of what I've done. One of the things that I've made great happy memories about, because it's work. But it's one that you go,
Yeah.
only twice in my career have people had that kind of authority. One was in Africa and one was in Uzbekistan, to be able to, do what they say they're going to do and move you in that type of environment. It was the presidential family. And it was a joy and an honor to work with that type of a culture. They have the best tomatoes there.
Yeah.
They have the yummiest fruit. And stuff. But
how
that's one story.
okay, how do you are you telling me you actually see yourself not doing that, not getting up and going places? What you're going to do your consulting from your living room in Colorado? Yeah.
It is very intriguing to be called to do things, because it's almost addictive. I like traveling. I like cruising. I like the logistics of it. I like being a part of it. I like the teamwork, the team stuff, or the individual stuff. I'm all about that. But how much of that should I be doing? My heart, huh?
That's what I'm saying. I don't see how you're going to give that up. I don't see how you're going to give that up.
Dwight, I'd have to find something that would fill that need. And guess what it is? I know the answer, because I'm always self-reflecting. Okay. I'm always like, why and what? Yeah, okay. You could probably say that, but you can't be moved by certain things. Like some people are moved by sex or money or whatever. I'm very anxious about how people can influence me. I don't let that happen in through those avenues, especially because I've seen all that. I've seen the high levels of money, and I've seen, all kinds of craziness in other categories. I don't really know the answer. The answer is
your volume's dying on me.
Really?
Yeah.
Hang on. And we have it.
Okay, that's better.
Is it okay?
Yeah, that's better.
The answer is a need base, of course.
Okay.
Or what I would want to do next that would fill the same need just as much. And my attraction now is to serve the United States more. And here, the seed was already planted before. Yeah. I mean, there are things that I want the countrymen and the things in the United States, there's so much that we could offer and do, and anybody can create a niche. It's about creating a niche. I don't have anybody to train with here. Burton Richardson, I haven't even seen it since I've been here. But I have to create that because of the uniqueness of our arts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been down to see him, but
So okay, so here's what I deduce from that. You have an answer to that question because you have spent the time getting to know yourself really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes down to that word you use, truth. So many people
Yeah,
live in a world of like, they band-aid pain. I don't. I look right at it and go, this sucks. Okay, and what am I going to do about it?
yeah,
Here, I'm not saying I don't throw maybe a pity party here or there, and take about 2 minutes to go, this sucks, and then I get over it. But the older you get, the more you want to maneuver through those type of decisions and get to the answers and solutions quicker,
yeah.
which is what I think as you get older, you have to offer the younger generations. My focus is getting very keenly off of certain things and keenly move into different areas. I already know what those are.
But you weren't
My country,
always wired that way, were you?
it's been a development the whole entire time. I think our gifts,
Yeah. Well, see,
if you
because
live a life of purpose. Go
no,
ahead.
finish that, and then I'll ask you something.
I,
Yeah.
I,
No,
I
because people are
believe
going
that,
to say,
I think you're breaking up. Can you hear
okay.
me? Yeah, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I believe very strongly that people should have a purpose. It doesn't have to be great and big. It could be you're a mom and doing the best at that, and that's even a minimization. It could be you have a desire to, I don't know, whatever it is. Everybody has a gift, a skill, and they have gifts, and that's combined in talents and skills and attributes and all the things that the martial arts would create in general. But in the totality of a human and the individuality, that I want to find as quick as possible what those gifts are in people and draw them out. I enjoy that. And the
Yeah,
best place to do it, and Guru Anasana led the way. I mean, he's led the way. I mean, it's almost like not seeing him recently because he's always in my mind. Even when I was traveling, I'm like, I love you, Guru. You're so awesome. Because I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you. I mean,
yeah,
my skills and talents from the Inasano lineage has opened up those doors. I wouldn't have the mindset
right.
for people to go, can you come and teach my military people? I'm like, General, why would you think I could do that? I like what I see here. Why teach my men? I go, I'll come back and teach your men. I mean, who does that? I taught the Afghan National Army. Okay, and that's as a female, that's just unheard of. But you
Yeah,
truly do have to know yourself. You have to be able to streamline stuff. I enjoy seeing what people's gifts are. I think um, every adult should be doing that in the sphere of influence they have with the children and the people that are around them. I'm not a fan of, I believe in the work, rest, play thing. You rest. But and Guru led the way again. I mean,
yeah,
he's 82 and he still works out and is active and whatever. We are supposed to be that way until we die.
yeah.
Um,
So, so would you object to there being a movie made about your life? You just said you taught the Afghan National Army.
yeah, General Galali's men. Yeah.
Yeah, to my mind, that's movie stuff.
You're so awesome. I don't think I'm that important. I think I've had other people ask me to do memoirs and to write a book and
Yeah,
I should more stories and stuff like that. This is
yeah,
a big deal for me to talk to you, and I don't mind people getting to know me because part of um, my next step is having to close a certain chapter and then open up another one.
yeah,
I didn't like the visibility. It took me a long time to go. I mean, it was just this past year I go, okay, I'm ready to talk to people again because I can sit for long periods of time. I can observe for long periods of time. There are certain things I can do and just stay in that mode, and I could probably do it for a very long time. But certain milestones and people in your life will tell you when it's time to move on, and then you have to be the truthful one with yourself, like I said, and go, it's time.
hmm
one of my colleagues, I was back in Denver. I'm like, hey, I just want, because that's, and when you have a certain lifestyle or a certain work environment, you always ping in with the people, maybe clients or whatnot, and or agencies or groups, and say, hey, I said, hey, I'm in town. If you have anything, you know, you need covered, I'll be here for this amount of time. I mean, truly, that's how I kind of live. And if there's a right fit, then it opens up and I'll go do it.
Yeah.
And honestly, he wrote back to me and he said, how do you put it? He goes, you've out, because when I read it, I was like, it was good and it was bad. He says, you've outdone what I can offer you work wise. He's like, you're I don't know how to say it, your caliber is higher than that. And I never see that. I'm like, I'm here to serve where the proper fitting and the proper timing is. So I was kind of like, but I thought about that later, and he gave me a recommendation and some other stuff. I'm like, that was really kind. I don't see myself as anything deserving of that type of thing. I just kind of,
Well,
but it made me change my mind. Here, change your mind. I was like, I'm ready to do other stuff. I'll be okay with talking to people more. I should probably teach some more because I enjoy that. But I still have the travel bug. So I'm like, I have to create something. I will recreate and develop what my next step is. I already know what it is because I've already decided it before. Now it's just execution. That's what faith is. You go, bam, I'm going to do this. And then you go and you do it. And if the door closes, the door closes. I've failed so much, Dwight, at 7 Ways to Sunday and some. And then I've had some really, really good successes. And that's another answer to the question of how I got through challenges.
Yeah.
Man, you just have to, you never give up. You just don't give up. You die. Yeah. Either you die or you don't give up. And honestly, your body is built, like I said, so your body will fight you when your mind starts going, I'm dumpy down, or I want to die, or I'm not happy, and when I say die, I mean that in a lot of different ways, because you're either decaying or I like this from, this is also well known, you're either moving forward or you're decaying. Mm-hmm. There's no in between. So, I'm a big advocate for all that stuff, but I'm fine tuning what it is. In the martial world, I truly believe true martial art is all ranges, all weapons, period. And if you're an American, there is no freaking reason why you shouldn't be training in all of that. And I've talked to everybody. Liddell's one of them. I'm like, Liddell, I don't want to. And he has really good reasons why he didn't want to shoot firearms. I go, but, and I'm gently massaging that. I'm like, man, there's some, we in the United States have that as another card in our deck. We're always stacking the cards against the bad guys, stacking the cards against violence, stacking the cards against becoming a victim, or any of those things. Yeah. And I said, I go, it's true martial is that development. Mm-hmm. I'm very fortunate. I had tactical training when I was worked in a firearms facility. I also had the NRA training, so I have the foundation of that up to an instructor level, which I'm grateful for all those things. It already supercharged the mentality that I already had regarding martial way. As far as I'm concerned, it should be all ranges, all tools up until firearms training. And Liddell's a good example. He's like, you'd be so proud of me. I go, what? We chuckle about how we're almost, I think he hit the 50 level. And he's like, I go, I'm getting close. I'm getting there, but I'm not there yet. And and when you assess stuff, you have to develop hope out of it. I'm like, even though I said there are challenges, you grab one hope and you do what you can. You do the best you can with what you got. And ultimately, that's always going to be more than what you ever thought it would be. Mm-hmm. So I was like, he's like, you'd be proud of me, because he had to overcome some very personal, I don't think he'll mind me just saying this, personal stuff. I won't say what the personal things were. To be able to extend his martial way, he's like, you'd be happy I'm shooting. I'm like, I am happy, because if it's true that we're supposed to always be growing and learning, and if our mentor and our role model and our instructor has encouraged that in my life for over over 20 something years, and you much longer, we should be doing that. Yeah. It's not the couch, it's not the TV. There's a time and place for that, but everything should be purposeful. I don't move in anything but purpose. If I'm even watching TV, I'm watching that in purpose.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Well,
anyway.
All right. So I could stay on here with you, but I gotta run. but I want to tell you this. Here's what you've done for me in this past 60 minutes or so. I volunteer answers on Quora.com. And I started out answering just martial art questions. And then that somehow evolved into personal development stuff. So I have an hour of that scheduled to start in about 30 minutes. You have given me inspiration to sit now for 60 minutes and answer people's questions about how do I do this? How do I stop feeling this way? What do I do if this happens and the next thing happens? I am going to use the energy that I just got from you and use it in answering these questions for these people. So I thank you for that. And I thank you for spending this time with me.
Yes, we talked about some interesting things, but I think this last little part is really where my heart and movement is. It's exciting to hear about the travel and all that stuff, and it could be book worthy or whatever worthy, and it may be.
Yeah.
Because there's much to it. But it's always about confidence, communication, and people. You have so much to offer, Dwight. We do.
Yeah.
And I would say that about most quality martial artists. We could probably help people in more ways than we can even understand if you create it. That you've created that forum to do it. You're dealing with adult human wills. They have the right to accept or reject it, but I can tell you're going to bring them wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so send me the information. I would like to pass it on.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's okay. And I am very honored that you would talk to me about this.
Are you kidding?
My martial, are you? No, seriously. Because it also was a stretch for me. It's time for me to share some things, and this is part of it.
Hey.
Mick Tully is another one that's asked me to speak over on that side of the world. I'm like, I'm working on it, but I live such an interesting life. I can do it in the next couple months because I'm like, I'll chill where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And
well,
with some
if coming on the show with me helps you in that direction, more power to you, honey.
I hope to see you soon. I miss the Florida group. You never know. I mean, it's easy for me to do the domestic stuff. I just get on that flight and show up there.
Yeah,
but girls a big attraction when you have girl over there.
Yeah. Well, when I found out that Lee's, because I saw the pictures of Lee's Jungle Gym, but I had no idea where it was, and then I found out it's in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I got to get myself there sometime.
Oh, you should.
Yeah.
You probably met David Lee, and when you meet him, you would remember. Our family is very, very big.
Yeah.
And there's one other thing I want to say before we hang up, because I didn't do this right to the level that I would suggest that people would do it, and I want people to do it. You create memories now. This is about the simplicity and the stuff we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's time, and we have the technology to create the memories. I have such great memories, but I didn't catalog them properly as they should be. And it took me too long to tell my students, make memories about going to the Legends camp in LA. Make memories, take pictures of them, cherish them, catalog them, and go to them, because our mind is so powerful and because I'm extremely performance based. I'm very, very interested in outcomes and best development of all type of things. I'm functioning that way the whole time. But if anything, I miss that. And we as martial artists or fitness instructors, or as a personal, if you're going to be a coach or helping people, you tell them to create memories so that they have those as catalogs. There's going to be plenty of bad in the world, and most people will naturally focus on that. We don't want to naturally focus on that anymore. Or then we go to other things that we shouldn't be going to.
Yeah.
But I miss taking the pictures. That's why when I saw you, I go, I have to get a picture with you, brother. on my Facebook, you're there. Okay. So I won't keep you. I know you have to go.
All right.
And if you need anything from me, I'm always available to you.
So that's why there's always the repeat episode of this. Okay. This is not over, young lady. We're not done. Okay.
I would like to report back to you on my segue out of the international more to the domesticated, but you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I'm going to try and go out of the more security background stuff and kind of go into helping people more with the direction that, in truth, you really got it going on, Dwight. I've really enjoyed this.
Hey, and listen to me. Memoir. Memoir. Yeah,
There.
memoir.
Okay.
All right? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks again. You take care.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye for now. And thanks to the people that were here. Mwah. Okay. Bye for now. I don't know how to stop it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why the Jeet Kune dialogues exist. Okay? So, everybody, thanks for logging in and spending time with me and my extra special guest, MonDee. This time next week, we'll be on with another dynamic lady of Jeet Kune, Diana Rathborn. So prepare yourselves for a lot more of the same. All right. In the meantime, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebels, signing off. You guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time. Take care.